On his way out of the bedroom, he stopped to look at the framed photos on his dresser. He smiled fondly at the one of him and Bianca. This was definitely shaping up to be the best year of his life. A light knock sounded from the front of the house. His gaze froze on the puppy, who'd stopped spinning and now watched him with his miniature head cocked quizzically. His heart began to beat like a jackhammer. Was this the answer to his prayers? He wasn't a betting man, but if he was, he'd bet on yes. Chapter 2. Every bride wants her wedding to be perfect, a day to remember, a fairy tale. But in the case of my best friend and business partner, Sylvia's wedding, today included a missing-in-action wedding photographer and a not-so-happy mother of the bride. I chewed on a cuticle as I surveyed the long faces in the posh Vinoy Resort suite. There was Sylvia, me, the maid of honor, and Sylvia's 3 bridesmaid cousins. We were all running out of ways to keep her from having a meltdown. Think, Darwin. Then I clapped my hands. I know. Y'all have phone cameras, so we can just take some pictures of each other until the photographer gets here. I was trying unsuccessfully to stop the red hives that were creeping up Sylvia's neck, beneath her beaded lace plunging neckline. Panic was threatening to kick off its shoes and make itself at home in her psyche. Sylvia moaned and dabbed the Kleenex under her eye, where a tear of frustration had slipped. Shaking her head, she twisted her engagement ring with nervous energy. You don't understand, mi amiga. My mother, I already had to beg her for blessing and promise her we'd get our children baptized. She gave in reluctantly, but she's still upset about us not getting married by the church. Anything that goes wrong now, she'll take as a sign she was mistaken to give her blessing. A sign that God doesn't actually approve, and our marriage will be cursed if we go through with it. I knew my mouth was hanging open. I even heard my own mother's voice saying, Darwin, shut your mouth before you swallow a fly. I couldn't move, though. Cursed? How could anyone look at the love between Sylvia and Landon and ever think they'd be cursed? This was not good. We had to do something. I hopped off of the bed and dug through my bag for my cell phone. I have an idea. I'll call Charlie and see if she can come take some photos. She was taking lessons from the wedding photographer, remember? He was teaching her how to photograph shelter dogs. She just got a new camera. Sylvia actually cracked a smile. Shelter dogs? Sylvia's 3 cousins, however, were not amused. They whirled in their red Vera Wang bridesmaid dresses and stared with undisguised horror. Then they converged on Sylvia like a flock of birds and began soothing her in Portuguese, comforting her with pats and shoulder squeezes, while shooting me sharp, disapproving glances. Good job, Darwin. Way to ostracize yourself some more. I sighed and made the call. Luckily, Charlie was close by. The other photographer will be here in less than 10 minutes. While we waited for someone who knew what they were doing, I decided to take a few photos myself. I framed the women on the screen of my camera phone and clicked. I captured 3 unamused faces and Sylvia's sad stare. I gave up and refilled my glass with the complimentary orange juice mimosa. Breakfast of champions on your friend's wedding day, especially when things are unraveling. Charlie arrived at our room fairly quickly. I barely recognized her without her usual skinny jeans and some kind of funky hat. Instead, she was wearing a sky blue sundress and white leather sandals.